feeling too bad. Not bad at all. The eyes have been somewhat itchy and running. Yeah, I see there's quite a big. Let's have a look at who's on. Leon, which I guarantee is there. Phil, I know's there. Brian, Benno, good to see you. Graham and Peter. And John G7JTT, I added him to the end. He's hoping to make it. He will be a slightly smaller signal than he normally is, or has been. He blew up his driver, so he will be changing his parameters accordingly to get the best signal he can get through. So you may have to fiddle a little bit with John, but we'll see. He was not bad the other day when I saw him, but he's hoping to get back in time. But we'll bring him in at the end, and he should hopefully be there. Let's go back to the camera. I've not been up to a great deal. Been playing with my SRT repeater and streaming basically, because the Zoe box that I had, as I think I mentioned last week, stopped working, and we were using a laptop to do the streaming side. The Zoe box having a lot of pressure on the suppliers, which was those that produce it, didn't want to take it back, but they've now agreed to take it back, so it will be going back to them on Monday. But I'm using instead the laptop, which get a picture, shall we? And a little bit of software that I found that was a plug-in for OBS, effectively, that gave you multiple streams. So that's my OBS, and that's so I run the main stream started, and you can add new streams in the side. I've got a BATC one added and a YouTube added, so when I'm actually streaming to the my SRT repeater, I can add in multiple streams and do it, and works exceedingly well. There's just a few shots, and the software itself, he says, come on, right, that's it. Multiple RTMB outputs. It's written by a Japanese guy, but if you follow it down, there's an exe to install it. Installs ever so easily. It comes up in English, and just seems to work. So that's what I would recommend at the moment. Anybody that wants to. And the streaming side, since I've gone over to the laptop, is just so much smoother. And the SRT repeater, which uses the logic that just simulates. If we click on that one, which is this little logic box here, which just simulates the remote control to control the quad box. This works an absolute treat now, using the laptop to do the necessary. I was having lots of problems using the Zoe box. The Zoe box was slow to react, and if you're trying to monitor things in VRC, etc., it was struggling. But I found other bits of software that did do, but that is working absolutely a dream. Anyway, Leon will be now waking up again. Hopefully this week I've got a bit more audio. I'd put these big meters on there, so I made sure that I had audio, and they covered up. They were sort of looking at the level from the microphone, and they hid the level in OBS. So I had OBS level down, but my meters looked as though everything was at peace with the world, which is why I couldn't understand, and I was half asleep last week. No change to this week either. And the VK boys, just to remind you, their net is on Tuesdays. It's plus 10 UTC, which works out, I think, about 11 o'clock in the UK. And that is streamed. That's worth looking at. There was the building of a, I was going to say an igloo, but it wasn't. It was for his camera. or a telescope, shall we say. Very impressive, very worth looking at last week's if you're interested in the astronomy side of things. Quite amazing, really impressed. Anyway, on that note, I'm going to pass it over to Leon, who hopefully is there, and we'll try and do better this week. Only one thing wrong, which was when we hit the mouse and went straight into things. So over to you, Leon. Test card, and it's all yours from GHKOE.
Okay, G8KOE and the group, as it is one mic saying good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Hello to everybody from Worcester, and not in America, like the courier company says, in China. They can't find my address. They say it's in in America. Oh my word. Anyway, okay. Martin, perfect, fantastic audio and absolute perfect picture. So everything is 100% on your side now. Okay, firstly, Gary phoned me about an hour or two ago. Yeah, they're still battling with his computer, but he thinks they're making progress. They've swapped the power supply for a 1 point something kilowatt one, because the guy reckoned that maybe it's suffering a bit of low power, and he's also replaced the drive. So yeah, they must still do some tests and things now, but he reckons that it should be soon now. Okay, that's Gary. Then I've finally finished my racks in my new storeroom. I didn't even bother to, come on cell phone, there's just a little bit of they're 6 levels high, so there's 6 racks in a section. So it's 24 shelves in total, which yeah, I think I'll have enough space for all my radio valves and my chemicals and things like that, so that I can free some of the shelves in the mechanical workshop for other things. There's my QO-100 amplifier stuff. That's been mounted there for quite some time. And we varnished them so that if there's some chemical leaking or something, at least you can clean it. Right, that's the shelves. Then I am, just get this out the way, I'm making good progress with my QO-100 narrowband side budget transmit section. I've done some tests today. I had problems with the filters. You need okay, as exciter, I found the cheapest way to excite SSB off the shelf is an old CB set, a 27 meg CB set with SSB. I got one, right, so they are still available in the junkyards of people. So I got that. At the moment I was simulating with signal generators and so on. So I've got lots of mixes, different mixes, and I found this particular one works very, very well. It's a very fancy one. I'm using it in reverse, by the way. This comes from the Doppler systems, the Doppler receivers that I bought at work and stripped them. We don't do Doppler anymore. You've got GPS. So it's got on the right in the center, it's got local oscillator in, that is still the same. And then you have local oscillator bigger than RF at the top, or local oscillator smaller than RF at the bottom. I'm using the local oscillator smaller than RF, so that I input no. There that's supposed to be IF. There I input the 27 megs. And here on the left hand side where it says RF in, there comes the RF out, and the isolate there I just terminate, and also the other IF port I also just terminate with 50 ohms, and it works beautifully. But okay, now you get the sum and you get the difference and you get all sorts of things with the attenuation of this fancy thing. But then I found that I do have the right filters, these ones. I've got some of these, and I've actually got other ones. So this is actually a duplexer. I'm only using the 1/2, but this gives me pure. I realign it for the exact frequency. It's about 2 or 3 megs wide, but you only get the wanted signal, and 50 dBs down either side there is still nothing. So yeah. And out of this lot, I get about 0 dBm, which is the same as the output of a Pluto. So later tonight, I'm going to put it on the satellite and see if I can at least get the carrier. And then a question. Are we allowed to use narrowband FM on the narrowband section, like 2 meter stuff, you know, so 70 centimeter? Are you allowed to use FM there, narrowband FM, or is it SSB only? Although I hear they use this JS8 or what, that rubbish on there as well, which is also a continuous carrier. But anyway, you people in the know can just tell me, please, are we allowed to use narrowband FM on the narrowband side of the satellite? Because that will open even more doors. So that's the story from this end here. So over to you there, Phil. M0PIT for the group, ZS1MM.
Hey, good afternoon, evening, morning, wherever you are. While it's fresh in my mind, Leon, I can't answer your question. I don't honestly know, but I don't think you can. But I could be wrong. I can hear a bit of a buzz. I wonder if that's my fans. Must be my fans because there's no audio on. Anyhow, that's. I think it's fan noise. Thanks, Martin. Where's the fan coming from? It's in a different place to where it normally is. Maybe because it's so hot everywhere. I'll have to investigate. Yeah, narrowband. I don't know. I don't even know. It must be documented somewhere, Leon, but I personally don't know. What's that? Oh, you've got the fire on. Yeah, I know. I've got the fire on. Got to keep the screen warm. What have I been up to apart from suffering like Martin with hay fever? I haven't suffered like this since I was a teenager. My eyes are really bad. They're really bunged up. This morning, because the temperature has dropped, it actually rained last night up here. And I went out for a walk this morning thinking that I won't be suffering with hay fever. It was lovely, cold considering. But now, when I came back, my eyes really are bunged up, hence I'm just blinking all the time. But anyhow, that's enough woes with me. What have I been up to? Well, I mentioned last week that, I showed you last week, that I'm going to change from an Arduino that controls my PA, etc. I'm going to put a bit more power up. Just drop in a bit. P8 is getting warm. Yeah, and I'm going to go on to the controller, which is this beast here. There you go. That's this beast here. Comes in a nice case, and that's the board. That's better. Get a closer look at it. There we go. There is lots of nice inputs and outputs, etc. And I'm going to change the import the code that's on the Arduino onto this, because you program it with the Arduino IDE. And I've already started to do all the I/O stuff, and it actually works. It's quite straightforward, really. As you can see, there's a couple of LEDs on the output that flash every second. So that bit works, and then I was left with the final bit. Apart from putting all the different bits of code together, it was driving it via Ethernet, not by Wi-Fi but by Ethernet. And I downloaded the various, if you want, demo codes from their site, and I loaded them on, and I attempted to run them, and it just wouldn't work. Every time it kept telling me that it didn't. The processor in it is an ESP32, and the programmer, the IDE, kept telling me that the software what I'm compiling is built for an ESP32. Well, IDE was configured, and this was about, I'm not even trying to download it, I'm just trying to compile it. And every time I'd done it, it came up with the same damn error, that it wasn't ESP32 board. And you got a big range of them within the programmer. I changed it, all different ones, and every time it said that I need to set it up for an ESP32. Because I'm running it under Linux, I thought, well, okay, let's run it under Windows. So this morning I loaded the IDE program on Windows. The latest version didn't work. I couldn't get that to work. But the previous version, I loaded that and that worked. And tried to do the same experiments on it, and I got the same error message. And what I did in the end was just to remove all the code, and all I compiled was the library for the Ethernet side. So it's just the library, and it was that. And it was coming up with the error. So the error is not the code, it's the blasted library, which I do not understand, because it's supposed to work. And I don't know if it's just something that I'm doing wrong with the library, or I'm choosing the wrong library, or what, I don't know. But I couldn't get the damn thing to work. So that's where I am now. So that needs a bit of thinking about. If I can use that library, it saves me a lot of work. But if I have to go back and use another library, then it needs a bit more work on my part. And as I am no programmer, it's hard work. But anyhow, so that's really what I've been doing. I'm sitting here blinking like mad because my eyes are so bad. And the only other thing I've been doing is listening to the cricket, but I shall not I shall not mention any more about it. But I do enjoy cricket. In actual fact, when I was on my walk this morning, there was 3 lads playing cricket. I suppose they must have been about, I don't know, how old, about 11 or 12, something like that, when they're playing cricket. You don't see many people play cricket like you used to, not kids mucking about. Anyhow, I walked down there, this young kid, he bowled, and it was absolutely brilliant. It was the perfect, what's called a Yorker, and he bowled it between the bottom of the bat and the ground, and it took out the wicket. Oh, brilliant. He was only a young lad. Well, I don't know if it was a fluke or not, but yeah, I took my hat off to him. Oh, brilliant. Anyhow, right, that's enough of my waffle. Who's next? Brian. Brian's next. Right, so I'm going to hand over to you, Brian. It's a message from David. Okay, no FM transmissions. Yeah, I thought that was the case, but I wasn't sure. But anyhow, right, so I'm going to hand over to you then, Brian. So I'm going to put up the test card. Test card. Shall I put up my wobbly test card? If I can find it. There we go. Just like the old analogue days.
There we go, audio. Yeah, let's shut that up. Right. What I've been up to, a few things. And I'll let out some magic smoke on a device. I'll talk about that in a minute. Not sure if I've done this. This is before and after crashing it. Flies getting well now. Quite good. I think I've shown that before, not sure, but it doesn't zoom around the skies according to GPS, and pulling out on a flat and zooming across the field, it's doing a ton 18, 118 mph. That's enough quick to fly. What else? I've now got this working. That's a P1 TKI module on the 23. There we go. That bit's built up, and boxed. I think there's a picture of the inside the box coming up. It's giving a good 65 watts on DATV, nearly 150 on the SSB. There you go, that's the insides. 2 regulators, one for fan control and bias PTT control for external control. And thirdly, a plea. There's my little hand cam. Here we go. Anybody's got any of these little 2372 watt PAs? Keep my hand still. Pull away a bit. Closing on that device. It let out magic smoke because I reversed the polarity, of course. So if anybody's got a similar type of device, can let me know what U1 is, because it's burnt the number off. As you can see, it takes 10 to 30 volts and I only had 12 volts on it from the Shack Power Pack, but reversed, the magic smoke come out of it. So I'd like to try to replace that. If anybody's got one, it'd be handy. That's about it from me. Gosh, I've not used this for such a while. I don't know where my cameras are. There we go. Oh dear. Anyway, yeah, I've not been on for a little while. I'm sorry, I've been flying, including doing the evenings, chucking them about. And because I've got a couple of brothers who go regularly, we regularly stop off for a beer or two, of course. So that's about it. I'll put up a test card and hand it round to our young friend Benno, PA3 FBX, and good morning, afternoon and evening all. Round to you, Benno, from G6HFS.
And I wasn't prepared. I wasn't prepared, Brian. Good afternoon, all. Let's see if this works. If I now have only a little bit audio. Yes, apparently it should work. Let's quickly check myself.
A little bit.
Yeah. Hi guys. Been away from for a long time. From one activity to another. Did some campsite activities, but also Father's Day and all kinds of other activities, which prevented me by to be on the net. And today I found out that my signal is pretty low, so I am back to third. I have no clue why. Probably one of the connections or some antenna peripheral problems. I have no clue. Anyway, being on the air, it should work now. Well, Martin, thanks for leading the net. Leon, yeah, you got the idea. No FM. Actually, I did investigate this same path maybe 3 years ago, and I got a nice discussion when we tried to create a back channel of DATV, and I said, well, obviously no FM signals on the narrowband, but why not on the wideband, and why not get a channel on 333. You can make 10 FM channels or whatever. So why not make one of the 333 DATV channels a nice wideband FM, narrowband FM channel? No wide FM, because obviously then you have another issue, and you mainly would use that for music or something, and that's not allowed anyway. So yeah, I think would be nice to use a wideband FM, but no FM whatsoever. It's not allowed on the so only single site analog and DVB-S or DVB-T wideband only narrowband signals should be within the 2.7 something 3 kilosamples 3 kilohertz bandwidth, and that means no FM. That's according to the band plan, and also not for experiments. I actually tried to hide a FM signal inside a DVB-S signal, which you can. You can see it on the scanner, but you can use it. But it also gets a lot of noise and very bad decoding on the DVB-S. So yeah, that's also not a good idea. So yeah, and I understand the excessive of power and bandwidth, but again on the wideband, well, a 1 megabyte 1,000 kilosamples signal on the wideband uses much more power density than a FM signal. So yeah, that's still a discussion, but no, it's not allowed, Leon. Okay, well, then what was I up to last week's? Well, I have done tons of work on Arduino, especially on a Wemos based ESP32, ESP 8266, and I struck problems with EEPROM usage, where I try to save some values I got from the Wi-Fi setup, and then I want to save them on an EEPROM, and on the ESP 8266 you have special issues, but there is a way, and it sure works. And then I found that I have maybe 10 values I want to save, and I can save 6 or 7 of them without any problem, and then 2 or 3 of them I cannot save at all, and I don't, well, I can't figure out why, and I'm circling in circles there, trying to get that working. But like I said, I was a lot of camping ground activities, and to give you a small impression, let's see if I can show you that. If I do this way, sorry, that's a little bit wrong music. So this is the entrance of the exhibition of the campsite, where we put our proud Veron flag together with my the guy who did this, organizing this camp for over 25 years, and I took it over for rather another 20 years or so. So together we have 45 years of experience organizing this camp. So just to give you some impressions, they put up a nice 3-band beam, for which is, well, not of the main activities. This is one of the activities, fox hunting, and this was another activity. We have actually a bear fox hunting, where you have to finish up a bear to get first fox, and then 2 bears for the next fox, and 3 bears for the next fox, and so on. And now I am stuck. Why? So some other impressions. I actually put on a QO-100 sight, narrow band and wide band. I have spoken with some 20-30 contacts in between all sites. I actually tried to get contact with the Jersey expedition from the Belgium guys, which were also active on DATV, and we have seen each other, but not in the same time. So that's about it. And I can show you more pictures. Some guy had a nice washing line, and they put it up 6 meters high in the sky, and nobody could dry their towels onto it. But it gives you a nice impression what we are doing during that camp. It was nice. It was wet during the Pentecost weekend in the Netherlands, and at the moment we have over 30 degrees outside, so yeah, strange things happening. Okay, passing it back to myself, and then I am going to pass it on. Let's see if I can see if I have any comments. No, nothing. So passing it on to the next guy on the list, Graham. For me, only one over. I am melting away in my shack at the moment, and I think that's just enough for today. Graham, G3 Victor Kilo Victor, from Papa Alpha 3 Foxtrot Bravo X-Ray. Do I have a test card? Somewhere along the line I should have a test card.
Right, should have some audio if I'm lucky. The screen went completely black just now. I thought I was going to lose everything. But let's turn the sound down. Suddenly all iconized at the bottom of the screen. I thought, oh no, it's all crashed. But right, I can hear myself now. I better find the right screen. There, I think. Right, afternoon to everybody, evening, what it might be, wherever you are, or morning even to some people. And a few comments, interesting things. A lot of people having things not working. So that's all part of the game, isn't it? It was 38 degrees out in the conservatory where my PA was the other day, and I tried powering up the unit, and current rapidly rose, so I turned it off very quickly. It just didn't like it, so I had to. I haven't been able to switch it on for 4 days because it's just in the wrong place and gets too hot. Oh dear. The voice is going now, so it's dropped down a bit now, so we're all right back to normal power levels. And yeah, your shelves look pretty good there, Leon. Certainly got plenty of room there. Thing is, when you put it on the shelves, will you know where it is? I tried cleaning the roof up here with all the bits up there and could never find anything afterwards for ages. Oh, my voice is going. Never mind, I have to work my way through it. I should be able to just about manage and over, I should think, before it gives in. And they had no FM on the QO-100. It's banned out. No, ever since it started, I think nobody wanted to put FM on there. And there's a Worcester here, of course, as well, Leon, 20 up the road, 20 miles. So Worcester's all over the place. I think there's one in Australia, and there's one in America, one where you are. I'm sure there's at least one more somewhere else. But you have to tell Gary not to put such a big NVIDIA card in there if it needs 1.5 kilowatt power supply. Perhaps he's putting the ultimate in there, and it just takes too much power. And sorry to hear about the smoke coming out of the amplifier. I've seen those amplifiers. I don't know anybody who's got one they want to get rid of. but it definitely didn't like the reverse voltages of it. Yeah, my receive signal has been gradually going down for the last month. I thought, well, I wonder why that is. And I was having trouble receiving some of the stations on SDR televisions. I thought, well, this is ridiculous, the strength I'm getting. So I thought it's either a tree growing up, or which there is one, or it's the dish moved to 1.6 on a very heavy stand, receive only. So I went down with the inclinometer and checked it, and sure enough, the vertical elevation was wrong. So I undid it all just in time for the rain to come yesterday and got soaking wet. I had a computer down there and a mini tuner and tapped into the line, and just about going to do the bolts up, and it chucked down with rain, so I got soaking wet, and I got it so it's now above 10 dB on the beacon. So it was gradually dropping down. It always was about 8, but 8 to 9, but it went down and down and down until it was about 6.5. So moved the elevation up, it came to about 10.2, so quickly did the bolts up and came back in the house absolutely soaking wet. Fortunately the computer was still alive, didn't get inside it. But so that's one job done. And what else have I been doing? Still playing around with SDR television. I haven't got it on the air. I'm trying version 3, but I'm going back to it later on and having another fiddle. Every time I go and have a look at it, I find something else. So I'll get it on the air before long. What else have I got? Have a look. I've got the cleave masts on there again at the moment. So I put an arrow on the end now, so you can see where I am on the top left, just by the G. You put an arrow downwards. I'm on that little spot there, so I got a good view of the towers. I wonder what else I was going to mention, if I can find it. A while back, you may have seen it in the BATC. I had to go with Dave FRE, who's 30k away from me. He's on all the bands with all the modes and everything, right up to millimeters. And we had to go getting TV home to home between me and him, out the window, so as to speak. And we've done all bands except two-way on 24G. I've done one way, but I didn't have a PA on. I still haven't got a PA on it, but I need to do that to complete eight bands. I've got well, look, we've got some pictures of some of the bands, all good strength, till we got to 24G, and then that was receiving that was quite difficult through the tree. So that's we switch me off for a minute if I can. That's 2. Well, you can see 2 meters, 70 sems, 9 sems, and 13 sems, and then there's that one, which is the other 4 bands, 6 sems, 3 sems, 23 sems, 24G. He had to go down the road because there was a tree in the way. So that's why it's got Tump. He went down to the Tump, which is a mile or so from a couple of miles from his home, just to get out into the clear so he could see me. I was actually receiving through a window, through an open window. And he was transmitting at the other end before through an open window on most of the other bands. Although when I got to the middle bands, I got aerials up a tower. So that's the 6 bands. Some of the strengths we had were incredible. Well, I expect to be at 30k, but even using low power. And when we opened the bandwidth up to as far as it could possibly go, and we were up on 10G or whatever, we really let it go, and it really worked quite well. So there's not many people to work on microwave TV around here, unfortunately. Let me switch myself back in again, if I can do it without crashing the... there we are, get rid of the background. What else have I been doing? Built a 60-watt PA for 2-meter TV. Give about 10 watts, that's 12 watts maybe 15, no, about 15 watts on TV. So I thought I'd build one of those before the Mitsubishi modules disappear, because they're all going out of manufacture. So I've got a couple of little ones I use as well. These are ones that produce about 4 or 5 watts. One on 70 sems and one on 2 meters. So that's what I was using when I was working, Dave, using one of these for transverters, and then transverting the video up rather than generating it actually on the bands. 2 meters and 70, I generated it on the band straight off with a Pluto, but higher up I put it through transverters, and then it just goes through all the normal cabling, and it's all TR switched with the RF, so there's nothing to worry about. You just put 2 or 3 watts from one of these through it, and the whole lot, you can turn a knob, and you can go on any band you like, which makes it a lot easier. Anyway, I better put it round, 'cause it's a big net. Let me get back to something that's better to look at than a die-cast box. I can get back to my other pictures. There we are. How about... there we are, North Leach High Street, which used to be the main road to London. Imagine all the lorries going through that. That's just above me on the Cotswolds. That was actually the main road. You imagine a high tonnage vehicle coming through there, rumbling through all night. But it's bypassed now, thank goodness. Well, I don't think the place would fall down, probably, with the amount of traffic that goes through on the other road. Righto, who does it go to now? Goes to Peter, BZY, I think, and then to John. So I think that was covered most things. You're some nice what's it vans there, nice vehicles there, Benno. I think you excel with those in Europe, don't you? Because a lot of people move it from A to B. Over here, you have to hit the water if you're going to go any distance. But over there, you just keep going, don't you? If you've got somewhere to stay that's on wheels, it makes life a lot easier. So, right, I'll go back to a test card and put it over to Peter. I better get a drink. I think my voice is going to pack up. So, GW7BZY to take it, G3VKV going over to a test card.
Okay, amazing, that's worked. I'm quite shocked by that. I sort of turned my sound down. Well, meters as well. I've got 3 monitors now. Well, one is my laptop, which is working receive, so hopefully somebody will tell me if I'm synchronized or fairly synchronized. So that would be good if it was. I'm sure Martin, I discovered, Martin, earlier that probably my earbuds were on Bluetooth, and that was conning me into thinking that I was lip synced, and I probably wasn't. But hopefully I am now. I don't know. But yeah, that's it. I've not done anything here. It's been very fascinating listening to people there. Let's hope Martin can get on Mr. Inman. And is it Martin? Yeah, I can't remember now. But anyway, Leon. Racks. I thought you said rats. It sounded like rats to me. And I thought when you said have a look, I thought we were going to see some electronic rat device and a pile of dead bodies. So you got my attention there for a moment. It sounded interesting. But anyway, the racking looked pretty good as well. Cricket, M0PIT. Not something you would ever see in Wales. People don't play cricket generally. Maybe a little bit in school at this time of year, but just never outside the school. In reality, don't play much sport at all now. I suppose the same everywhere. But football, possibly. And occasionally see a push bike go past. Wobbly test card, yeah, I like that. I did indeed. That was really nice. I might make something on Blender that looks something similar. G6 HFS smoke. Oh, I nearly let the smoke out on my main PA this week. We had a terrible thunderstorm, so I unplugged everything, and I unplugged the coax to the 2013 SEM PA, and I plugged everything in, felt quite happy, switched on, no signal. Had a play, turned the power up like you do, nothing. And then suddenly it hit me like a slap in the head. I'd forgotten to connect the PA output to the coax. So it's still working. I think that's testament to Jim's PA construction. It's still working. And it's not the first time. But I have a pile of those little amplifiers that you have there, which died on a regular basis. So they're quite easy to kill. And now I've got one of the whatever it is that I can't remember now. I've got a spare kit anyway, So if you're desperate in the future, I could maybe send you the kit, which has the filter in it, and the components. What else have I got? Benno, yeah, your camping thing, that looks fantastic. Great stuff. And I like the idea of the fox hunt, and going back for a beer. That sounds like my kind of event, definitely. We don't have anything like that here. I mean, I don't go camping. I bought a tow bar. I bought on the estate about 5 years ago, and I was going to tow it. I also bought an off-road, a Honda CFR 250 Rally that I was going to go off-roading down Happy Valley, which is a very well-known off-road track around here in Wales, down the mountains, or through the mountains, Balloway. But the COVID came along, and it never happened. And then after, I think I felt a bit too old to be off-roading, and not bouncing as well as I might have done. So the motorbike's just gone, but the trailer never appeared, and the car is long gone. So or the estate. I had a Corolla estate, station wagon, or sports station wagon, or whatever they like to be called. But there we are. So that was my near miss with just letting the magic smoke out. I've let smoke out of many items because of the power supply roulette. So many power supplies, all having the same kind of connection, and plugging them in and then discovering that it isn't the right power supply. It's either putting too much voltage or negative voltage, and letting the smoke out. Quite a bit of equipment's gone that way, but nothing recently. I think now the manufacturers are sort of standardizing it a little more than they used to, and I can't work my mouse to go on the screen because it's a different computer. Anyway, with that, mildly interesting, maybe, I'll hand it round. And who am I handing it round to? I have no idea, but I will find out, just to sort of prolong the agony. G7 JTT from GW7 BZY. Back to you, so over to you, sir. What we're going to do? We're going to do a fade.
If you do make it back, John, give us a call on talkback, and I'll bring you in. Or maybe he was struggling to get a signal and I came in too quickly there. And your sound sync there, Peter, I'm not going to mention it. I'll leave it to Leon because he's an expert and I don't know what I'm talking about. So I'll let him say what he thinks about your sound. What have I been up to else? The other thing I've been about to play with, which is nothing like Phil, but I'm going back to basics, which is trying to reprogram the an Uno up. So we've got a few things there, and we've got relays that are clicking and such like, but I don't know. I don't find it easy. So whether I end up with doing anything, that there isn't a need because everything's sort of working anyway. And Benno, if you're still there, yeah, your camping stroke that event you organised, absolutely brilliant. And yeah, I like the idea of a pint. And then what do you mean they don't drink and do anything else in Wales? There, my son was at Lampeter University, and they used to have a three-legged race through the village, and they used to have to stop off at each pub and have a pint. Well, the guy my son was couldn't keep up with it, so my son was drinking 2 pints at each pub. Anyway, he was chairman, I think he was secretary of the rugby club there. So they do play other things other than football. Anyway, I don't have a lot more to add. So I'm going to throw it on to Leon, who, yeah, it amazes me all those bits of hardware you pull out the cupboard. I do miss, because I've moved so many times, I've got rid of all those sort of bits and pieces. And I keep thinking back, so I used to have bits of waveguide and all sorts of stuff for 10 gigs and such like, and I don't have any of it anymore. So it stops me having the temptation. There isn't anybody around here to work anyway, and I'm not going to go out portable. And we've got rid of the car now, so that puts the mockers on that. I don't think going on the bus is going to work out well with a large dish. And I'm running DATV Red at the moment. I've gone to that, which gives me more flexibility on doing things. I did have some problems with the computer locking up, which Simon suggested could be temperature. I'm monitoring the temperature at the moment. Yeah, it says the CPU is at 58 degrees. So I'm running a little program called Specky at the moment, which looks at all the 15 cores there. And if they're green, I think it means they're not too bad. So we'll see how we go. But I would totally look up the computer. So I'm praying it doesn't know now. And I was a bit slow in changing last time because DATV Red has this little screen that comes up and tells you you've been transmitting for 10 minutes. Unless you cancel that, you can't actually stop transmitting. So it's a nag screen, which is good in one way, but if you don't notice that it's there, you can't stop transmitting at that point. And yeah, I would have thought with Gary that he'd have just ordered a brand new machine from somewhere. That's what I'd have done. This playing around, I just don't understand it. But that's just me. I'd have lost interest, which I did do with the Dell machine I've got when I was having problems. They supplied me with a new one which worked. If it hadn't done, I'd have just gone and got another one. It's just lose the will to live sometimes with some of these things. Right, it's a long waffle from me. Good net. Yeah, the planes were interesting there. Couldn't do that. I was never any good at building model planes. It's I don't know. I just got too I don't know. All I remember is having the plane with the little I think what they were, little pellets you put in and you set fire to them and they shot off like a rocket. But that was when I lived at Lancing in Sussex. Right, just waffling about nothing. That's no good. And before I forget, yeah, Rob VK3IE. I've not heard anything from him for a while. He used to send me pictures every day, pictures of the cat, etc. and that. So what's happened to all the pictures there, Rob? Have I offended all these? I wonder. I should get some. If I haven't offended, then send me some. No, I must make contact with him. But yeah, hope it's all okay with you there, Rob. Right. Not heard anything more from John, so we'll pass it on to you there, Leon. And if you do get back there, John, let us know and we'll stick you in at the end. Z1 Mike to take it. G8KOE.
Okay, right, Martin, thanks. G8KOE in the group, ZS1MM on my final over. Okay, before I forget, Brian, the IC you're looking for is a Mike Papa 1584 Echo November. It's a little bucking regulator. Mike Papa 1584 Echo November. Right, Martin. Yeah, the Jetex motors, the Jetex little jet engines, use those little tablets. I actually have some of them here. One of the chemist shops here in town closed down. It was a good old friend of mine, the owner. He was a chemist, Hichu. And he retired, and he said no, he's going to close down the shop. And he gave me a lot of stuff, a lot of chemicals and stuff, and also 2 brand new Jetex motors with the little tins with the tablets and the fuses and stuff in there. I've never put one in a plane, but I have run them, and I've actually made my own tablets for it as well. I play with model rocketry and so on, and there was one recipe that looked very similar, and I manufactured some of that and cast it in the same size tablets and stuff, and yeah, it works perfectly. Okay, right, Gary, we've done the FM. Everybody says no FM. Okay, the only reason for the FM is then you don't have to lock so exact. I mean, if you're off by 20 hertz or something on SSB, it irritates me. But if you're off by 20 hertz on FM, it doesn't matter. And I mean, gee whiz, if you're running 2.5 kc deviation, it's not much. The real narrowband FM like the guys do nowadays. But anyway, if that's the rule, then we just do it in SSB. Okay, Phil. Yeah, I don't have any notes for you. Brian, okay, the IC MP1584EN. Benno, yeah, that's a good idea. I've also thought of, we must have a back channel. Then we don't need all this all-star stuff and the internet and all that. It's all on the satellite. Reserve one little channel there somewhere for a talkback channel. That would be nice. Very nice pictures there, Benno, of your camping, and gee whiz, yeah, the fox hunting always sounds so nice. When I was up in Division 6, that's now in the northern part of South Africa, in the Transvaal, it's got a different name now, don't ask me what it is, because they chopped it up into small chunks. There the guys used to do a little bit of fox hunting, but still on 160 meters. I think you do it on 2 meters nowadays, which obviously works much better. But yeah, nothing like that down here in the Cape. Okay, Graham. Yeah, okay. No. I've been for the last couple of months, the local Spar, the local grocery shop, they get their chocolates in a specific size box, and I'm collecting those boxes, and I'm going to put a nice label on it and stuff. I can get 11 of them side by side on one shelf and stack them 3 high, just over 3 high on it. So I can get 33 boxes on one shelf, and I've got 24 shelves. So then I can put a lot of stuff in there. So I got 4 this morning at the shop again, of the boxes. At the moment I've got, I think, about 50 odd, and I was aiming to get about 100 or so. But we're patient. They go through chocolates like nobody's business. So. Yeah, it's pointless having things in large boxes, because then it's a mixture of things, and you don't know where to look. But you have smaller boxes with just one type of thing, like valve sockets or what, miniature triodes or whatever, The only things I'll have standing open is all my bottles of chemicals. The whole one wall is for my chemicals. It's 6 shelves because I've got a vast collection of chemicals with all my other hobbies and stuff, and I like the stuff to be clean, well packed and labeled, and on the shelves. So yeah, that was the main drive for getting that old workshop of mine, turning it into a store. Just a store, no space for doing anything. You walk in there, get what you want, whether it's chemicals or electronic spares or whatever, and you go to the workshop and use it there, or to the lab, or wherever, whatever thing you want to do. Okay, that's that. So that's, yeah, Peter, yeah, you came on today without a hitch, hey? Everything worked. You had audio and and a picture and no falling out or anything. That's amazing. You did well there. Although your audio is not as crisp as it normally is. It's a little bit woolly, like you are a little bit off mic. So yeah, and John didn't come up. Right, that's it from me. I want to carry on with the narrowband stuff. I'll do some experiments later, but I need the dish for that, so I'm going to switch off the TV side for now. So Phil, over to you. M0PIT for the group from ZS1 Mike, but I'll still be watching.
Yeah, thanks, Leon. Yeah, the old JetX engines, yes. They do get hot, don't they? God almighty. Remember having one when I was a teenager. I had one of those. Boy, oh boy, did they get hot. And they produce quite a bit of frost as well. But yeah, memories. I'm talking about memories and airplanes, etc. I suppose I must have been, I don't know how old I was. I don't know, about 10ish, something like that. It was late 50s, early 60s, very early 60s. And where I used to live, the back of me was a big field, a cow field. And as kids we used to play over there, and one particular occasion we were going over there, and there was a guy with a model biplane, remote control model biplane. Probably couldn't control it by very much, but anyhow, but it was remote control. And we went over there, sort of walking along with him. Hey, mister, what are you doing? And he said, oh, I'm going to try my plane. Oh, so we followed him. So it got, I don't know how far away, about a mile away from houses. And he tried to start this biplane. Took him hours, not hours, but it took him ages to actually get it working. And the whole thing was like that. And he picked up his hand, and he, like that, and it went vertical virtually, and it went up. You could hardly see it. And I can't remember what happened. I don't know if he was trying to control it or what. Such a long time ago. But all I know is that it decided to do 180 degrees and it was vertical again. And it was heading to the ground. And it hit probably about, I don't know, about 25 metres from where we were standing. And as we walked over there with his chat, we thought, oh, blimey, what's he going to say? It was in bits. And he picked all these bits up and all these other bits and pieces, and he walked off, and the last thing he said to us, well, he said, that was the best flight ever. Straight up, straight down. Oh dear, memories, yeah. Oh, yeah. Brian, yeah, I sent you that check number. Also, there's that link has got a fag packet design of one of those boards. I mean, I've got 3 boards here. There's 2 different types, but there's probably more than 2 types. It's the same board basically, and they change the components depending upon the makeup of the board. And that also applies to that buck chip, because they change the values on that. to change the voltage, etc. But yeah, I mean, these are quite good. I mean, I'm using two of them as I speak. I've got one up here, sort of like a buffer driver that connects onto the ports down, and that goes over God knows how many meters of coax LM400, and it goes out and it ends up in my little wooden hut in the garden. And there's another one of those out there, and then it goes into a Wi-Fi amp, and then it goes into the big PA. Just basically it keeps all the gain down, but the output transistor, or FET, on the ones that I use, get diabolically hot, really do get hot. But they seem to survive, but in the past I have blown them up on more than one occasion. This is just the output stage, and I do have some replacement MOSFETs. I've only got a few left actually. It shows you how many times I've blown them up, but I haven't lost one for quite a time actually. Must be over a year. Yeah, they're a good little lamp. Well, I think so anyhow. They're overrated for what they say they are, but they're only cheap. And I say I'm using two of them in the line now. Right, so that's that. I don't think I have much else to say actually, other than my eyes are bad. I shall stay on the satellite until everybody's had their over, or their second over, or what. And then I should probably go and think about getting myself something to eat. Oh yeah, well I remember, Leon. SSB on the satellite. You're going to be using SDR console. There's a feature within SDR console that I think probably everybody uses, and that is you can lock SDR console to the beacon, so it locks onto the beacon. So if your Pluto or whatever drifts out, because it's all locked to the beacon, it will compensate. SDR console will compensate for that drift. So you may not have to worry too much about the drift if you use that feature. Anyhow, that's enough for me. I probably won't be around next weekend because I'm going down to see my son. I'm supposed to have gone last weekend and this weekend, but his girlfriend is still suffering with the tail end of a cold, so we postponed it. But it looks like I should be going down next week. Right then guys, well have a good week, and hope hay fever doesn't bite you like it has done with me and Martin. I shall wish you a good week, and I shall find a test card. I won't put a wobbly test card on, I'll put a normal one on. And I shall kill carrier. And then it's over.
Whoa, that one nearly caught me out. Right, let's find a camera. Whoa, that one nearly caught me out. I was getting this little PCB a bit warm to get the chip off. It's one of those devices that's got the an earth pad you have to solder down on the bottom of it. Anyway, it's off now, so I shall look for one. Thanks guys for letting me know what the number is, and hopefully get that back running when the chip turns up. thing is that you can't buy them in ones. You might as well buy 2 or 5. It's cheaper. It's just weird, isn't it? There we go. Yeah, not a lot else to add. Been a good net. The reason why I use that little board is to drive my new PA. And the max input to it is 4 watts. But with the power output of that little board, that's enough to give me to say around 60 watts of DATV, so that's enough. To drive it much more over that, I get horrible shoulders, so I don't want that. I'm 23, try and keep it as clean as possible. So that's all I've got to say, really. Everybody have a good evening and a good week. Hope it cools off. Up here in the shack it's reading 32 at the moment. So I seen Benno was having a few beers at his expedition. Sounds like a good idea. I might go find one myself. So I'll add it round back to you, Benno, for your final over and say 7 threes from G6HFS, and back to you, Benno, PA3FBX from G6HFS. And the test card, and then back to you.
One go. So let's make sure we go. So it's going to be back round to Graham, and just to say, John JTT is back from his taxiing journeys. So John will he may struggle a little bit, but give him time to settle down. Over to you there, Graham from G8KOV.
Right, G3VKV. Turn the volume down a bit before I confuse myself. There we are, I think. Right. Okay, everybody, I think I've got the order right here. I'll try John again in a minute. So let me get my picture back. Find everything. I'm back on the shack now. Put everything else up for a minute. It's a bit dark. The sun's moved around and it's shut the camera down. So I'll have to leave it as it is for the moment. I've got the TV running in the background on the beacon, and it's about as you say, about 1.2. I think it's sticky, wouldn't it say 1.2, 1 to 1.2 dB less reading on that one than it is on the mini tuner. I've got a NADA wideband splitter on the input, splitting the 2 up to go to each one. So it's 18 gig NADA thingy, 1 gig to 18. We got that in line, so I can have the 2 running together. Although I've got 2 mini tuners, one's not doing anything at the moment. Yeah, I'm only on version. I've changed it up to version 3, and I changed it back again to 2 for a minute. So I'll be back on 3 again in the next minute. Now I've upgraded the dish, Simon, to get a bit more signal in. Getting a bit desperate when the dish was. I think the whole ground has heaved. Mind you, the dish has been there for what, 40 years. 35 years, I should think. It's got 3 girders holding it in, but they're not set in concrete. They've just been driven into the clay. I think the clay has actually contracted in the last few weeks and tipped the dish over, because it was definitely pointing down, not down towards the ground, obviously, but way out of the 25 degrees up in the air. And it's only got a 1.5 degree beam on it, so you haven't got to move it very far before everything disappears. Anyway, it's all right at the moment. I've done the bolts up. They're all stainless steel, so they're easy enough to undo and do up. On a massive, great big arrangement underneath. Not quite so big as my Wise. It's not a 3 metre, it's a 1.6, but it's spun aluminium. It's got a scalar feed on it, prime focus it is. So yeah, we'll go back to SDR3. Right, I've got a few minutes and play around with it again. Now I've got the things boosted up a little bit. And as regards drift, yeah, I think you've got to have a few problems there, Leon, with keeping it all synced. The only way I got around it, first of all, I did the Octagon LNB, take the, I think it's a 27 meg crystal, I think it wasn't 25. Stripped that out, did a major operation on it, and put a Leo Bodmar on it. It's a bit expensive way of doing it, but put a Leo Bodmar on it, and I've stretched it so I actually got 1240 as the IF. Just about made it. It's still locked just. So it's on 1240. It comes out. So 750 dish I use on the narrowband. Prime focus again with a potty feed, Octagon in the middle, and then the potty to feed the circular. And I use a homemade transverter up from 2 meters, from 14 meg, 144 megs up to 2.4, which gives about, originally I built it on 2.3, but on 2.4 it only gives about 6 or 7 watts. It gives 10 or 12 on 2.3. And I didn't want to change the final at all on the thing, but change all the driving system to get them to drive up. So that's what I use, and that's locked to a Leo Bodmar as well. And then, of course, I brought the 2 cables into the shack. I thought, well, I'll connect them to a 9700, which I just happened to have on the bench, and use the 1240 as the IF, and the 144 is up. All works fine, but the 9700 actually moves on 1240. It's a weird thing in it. The reference crystal isn't the one that's in there. It's tripled. It is, but it's tripled, and then it's used as a reference. So in fact, any shift you get either from the fans blowing air over the reference system or the drift makes it shift. And if you're on SSB, it's enough to certainly if you're on the digital modes, you wouldn't be able to use it on 1240. You could use it on 2 meters and 70, but it needs every bit of stabilization it could get. So I've stabilized that as well. So all 3 parts are stabilized. So you can leave it running all day now, and it'll stay on the same frequency. And it's got one knob to tune it with the up and down lock to it. So just like operating on any other band. But the aerial is actually inside the front window. I got a picture of it here somewhere, I think. If I can find it. Hang on a minute. Let's see if I can find it. It's actually going through the here we are. It's on here, I think. Where is it? Yeah, here we are. It's actually going through the front window. That's the dish with the RF feed, the blue one, and the LNB coming out there. And there's the power feed, and the Leo Bodmar is in the back. Well, it goes on the back if you want it to. So that's actually beaming through the glass, but it's not metallized glass. It's a 750mm prime focus. You can probably just about see it if I. Works fine. Everything's 9+. So that's the potty feed with the Octagon on the end of it in its box or sawn up, and that's the feed. So put it inside a bit of a flagpole, metal flagpole, and I turn it around 20 degrees to get the skew. But that works fine for narrowband, even though it's going through the window. There's the satellites around the wrong side. Where's the transmitter? I'll find it. There we are. That's the transverter. That's the transverter up from 2 meters, and power supply for it, 12 volts. But there's a Leo Bodmar on the back. You can just see it. So that's what I use. Anyway, let's go back to where we were, and I better put it on round. See if John is around. Let's get back to something other than a piece of equipment. Always leave it parked in the right position. We are back on the cleave mast. So okay, I'll put it over to John if he's there. I think Simon wants to come back in as well. So I'm not sure. Better get Martin to intervene, I think, and see who's coming on first. But I think it might be John and then Simon. So you come in at the end, I think. If I was reading right on the talkback. We can't read all the talkback. I'll read the talkback afterwards. G3VKV going to test card, and then over to, I think, JTT if he's there, or if you know better there, Martin, to you, and then to JTT or to Simon, whoever's going to be next. G3VKV, your test card.
Yeah, I'm not sure whether Peter's still there. But yeah, I'm not sure whether Peter's still there. Anyway, it should be Peter next if he's still there. I don't think he's signed. So GW7BZY to take it. If he's not there, then it'll be John from G8KOE. If he's not there, then it'll be John.
Good afternoon, everybody. Simon here, G4ELI. Just waiting for the audio to come through on receive. Yeah. John. Okay. Sorry if I've jumped on top of you. I'll put it over to you after I've finished. I decided to come on as neither Peter nor yourself had started transmitting. When I got back from walking the dog and I switched on, I heard Martin KOE talking about computers and things. It's always worth monitoring the CPU temperatures. I do like to keep them cool. You might say whether you're using Intel or AMD. AMD do run hot. One thing about MER levels, there's discussion all around. MER is not a signal level. It's about the quality of the modulation. So you could have a very strong signal poorly modulated. I will check again how I'm measuring that with SDR television. I do believe I'm doing it correctly. The other software could be using discrete, so integer mathematics, that sort of thing. And I myself must get my dish aligned. I'm between 0.5 degree and 1 degree out. And as a result, I'm rather susceptible to QRM from other satellites in the general area. So that is one of my plans over the next week or two with Mike MJW's help. And just one general comment. This channel which is used, Martin's saying 58 degrees. That's warm. Now, although it's well within spec, 58 is warm. You may say whether using Intel or AMD. If it's Intel, that is hot. Generally, with the motherboard, you can go onto the motherboard and adjust the BIOS so that it gives you, you can set it to the BIOS so that the CPUs do stay cool. I like electronics to run cool. The computer I'm using at the moment is water cooled. You can't beat water cooling unless you're doing something where it's just trundling along. Okay, Martin, yeah, that is hot for Intel. Although it's well within spec, it is hot. So I use water cooling on my development computer, but I do have another computer over there, which is I use as a general purpose computer, and that's got a big heatsink and fans on it, and it just trundles along. So there we go. Enough rabbiting from me. During the week, or at the beginning of the last week, I released Beta 3. There is a known bug. I do plan on fixing that bug before releasing the official version 1. And one thing that's been mentioned, this channel 14, we are on the edge of the wideband transponder. And the MER, the signals are being compromised by the filtering on the wideband transponder. The next channel in that direction, down in frequency, would be better. It won't suffer from this. Or even just going, say, 100, as Mike has suggested, 150 kilohertz in that direction. But we are on the side of the transponder input filtering, and that is going to affect the phase. That is going to be mucking up phase. So depending on how the receiver software is written, it could be more or less susceptible. Anyway, there we go. Enough yapping from me. So I'll pass it over to John, JTT. I apologise again for jumping on top, but I gave a long enough pause. And so over to you. This is all that remains of G4 ELI. This is all that remains of G4.
And good afternoon, everybody. Hopefully that's working. A few issues this end. I blew up the pre-driver, so I'm only using an FPS preamp device thing as a pre-driver at the moment. Not quite enough to get me up to the 1 milliwatt I need at the PA. So a bit more losses in the cable than first imagined. Anyway, been a long time since I've been on this net. So for those that don't know me, my name's John. Because I was in Europe when it first switched on, but I landed, and within 5 minutes of being home, I was on here, and I don't think I left it for several years. Anyway, we're back again. So now from further up north in Lincoln, as I'm sure most of you are probably aware now, and yeah, loving it. It's definitely a good move moving up here, albeit that I still got a lot to do. A couple of things just that I sort of come halfway in the conversations of. FM on the narrowband, on the wideband rather, is absolutely frowned upon, obviously. There was talk in the very early days of using a little bit of space that was available to do it, but then we had an incidence of some pirates, I believe they were Russian pirates, that came on, a bit like they do with the SATCOM stuff. They discovered that there were some bits either side, and that's why the transponder is as wide as it is now. So we use the full width that we can possibly use, which means there's no space for them to hide, because they used to be just below the beacon and just off the top where we are now. So anyway, but that was a long time ago, and thankfully we've not really had any instances of things like that since, so it's been good. Weather, as I'm sure most of Europe knows, the British, we love our weather. We moan about it when it's wet, we moan about it when it's warm, we moan about it when it's everything, but we still haven't had any rain up here. We've had a couple of drops of drizzle, and that's about it. We were in the yellow zone yesterday, and that then moved further north, and we never saw none of it. And although the wind's out there now, it's quite strong, it's still quite humid, and still well, it's 27 degrees in here, so it's still warm. So, week, and I guess everybody's raring to go. I shall put it back round to who was it? Oh, back round to you, Martin, I guess. G8K.
Yeah, G7JTT, G8KUE. You were in G7JTT on the ride, I think most of the time. We dropped out a couple of times. And if you're still there, Simon, yeah, it's an Intel Core i7 13700. I'm running the Specky app that you get, and it's saying that the average temperature is 57-58 degrees. It is a cool system. I've checked that the fans do kick in when they should do. It's a Dell system, by running the Dell utility that runs through all the different systems. You say things can be adjusted in the BIOS. Be interested in that. It's yeah, it's I won't put it up because it's a fairly small app. Frequency wise, if people I'm happy to move it to the next channel. It started here, and all the nets seem to have started here, the BATC, etc. But if the feeling is that we should move it, then I don't know. I'm not on the chat side of things, the WhatsApp group, etc. So if you that are on that wish to sort of bring up the subject and see whether people are in favour or not, let me know, and I'll move it, or maybe I'll give it a try anyway. But probably people will be waiting down here. But we'll see how we go. Anyway, good net, and thanks for everybody for popping up. Thank you for the assignment, and yeah, this is looking at the temperature. They all say it all shows it as green, which on this little app, but occasionally they're sort of on the verge. I think whether it's a good app, a bad app, or whether there's a better one that I should be using. That's it for what it's worth. Monitoring, I wasn't going to show it, but apologies that it's relatively small. But that's it trundling away. Right, on that, I shall say 7 threes, everybody. I'll close the net down. And thanks, John, for popping up. I can see he's moved up to the next channel. And he's looking very serious. And probably not listening to us down here. But he's done well. And look forward to him getting back up to his normal signal strength. So I'll put up a test card and say 7 threes all and close the net. But I shall be here for a while if anybody wishes to pop up. From Golf 8 Kilo Oscar Echo.
Gone. There we go. Okay, Martin. Just to mute the audio. Right. Just for what it's worth, the maximum operating temperature of your CPU is 100 degrees centigrade. So you may feel that 58 degrees is okay. There are downsides to having things that hot in that the motherboard around there will be warm. Now, it's designed to run at that, but it's not ideal. When you said it was a Dell, I realised two things. One, it's possibly using the stock Intel cooler, which would explain why the temperature's 58 degrees. They're not very big coolers. And if it's not the stock Intel, it'll be a stock Dell fan. If you're designing a computer, you go to somewhere like Overclockers or Scan or PC Specialist, you can specify how you're going to cool your chip. Just for what it's worth, mine is running here. I'm running an actually slightly inferior. It's an i5-13600, and that's running typically at 24 to 25 degrees, and that's with the water cooling. Water cooling does keep it cold, and if you're going to make a gaming machine where the things are running flat out as they possibly can, then you do go water cooling, and you go water cooling in style. But I think I'm referring back to what was being said maybe on Thursday. I lost the will to live last Thursday, went to watch television. If your computer freezes while you're running a program, it's very, very probably temperature related. So have a look in the Dell BIOS, look for options. If Dell's BIOS is vaguely anything like others, it'll be in the advanced, and you can specify fan profiles. You can specify whether you want it to run silent, balanced, or extreme, that sort of thing. But my computer is in the room through the wall there, so I don't hear it, and I can't even see it. Enough rabbiting from me. Back to you if you want to say something, G4ELI.
Yeah, G4ALI, G8KOE. Well, it's got a Dell cooling system in it. It came with it with all the pipes, etc. And the fan, when you run the Dell utility, goes into overdrive mode. But I've never had it go into overdrive mode. So whether it's the way in which things are being triggered, run the support sys, that's what it's called. I couldn't remember what it was called, which runs through all the testing supposedly of the different things. And as it runs through, the fans kick in and rev up to quite a rate. But I've never had this one kick in and do that. So whether it has a fault in that respect, that's I wasn't sure. It's I'm running at the moment. I'm running DATV Red. I'm running OBS. I'm running OpenTuner software, and obviously the browser and bits and pieces and things and that. It's I don't know. We shall see. My knowledge is not really up to your standard. So maybe I should look at the BIOS. I had sort of on various other ones that the paste tends to go dodgy certainly on the laptops that they use, and doesn't remove the heat quite as well. Needs replacing every so. So I don't know whether that's. But I would have thought the fans would have kicked in, but if it was related temperature-wise, so not knowing exactly where the temperature's measured as such. Although as this utility is actually seeing the temperature, then yeah. I'm talking a load of rubbish, I think. Apologies. GAKOE.
Yes, right, I'm there. Okay, I'm just looking at something here on my system, and you just bear with me. Dum diddly let's see, that's possibly not even the computer temperature, because you can generally get the temperature of every component, for example, all your solid state devices. I'm just closing Windows at the moment on this utility I'm using for reading it. Right, the current temperature on my device is actually 42 degrees, which is a bit surprising. But that's because I changed something on the profile very recently. That's right. I changed something on the profile to run it into performance mode. So all in all, that temperature is not too hot. It really isn't too hot. There are lots of hardware monitoring bits of software out there, and you can look at the temperature of things like your solid state devices. Your solid state disks, for example, the motherboard, all that sort of thing. Stop it. Guess what's come in down here? Okay, I won't hold you. I'm just going to, just bear with me. I'm just trying to reset something here, and can't read it properly. Here we go. Clear the maximum and the minimum. But I mean, that is fine. The computer shouldn't freeze, though. They shouldn't just freeze. When they do, it does indicate temperature, but also it can be power if you've got too much connected on USB, but I wouldn't have thought that's the case. Okay, I'll maybe be on Thursday, but I'm tempted not to be on. I start getting tired in the evening, and if there's too many people on talking for too long about things I don't find desperately interesting, my eyes glaze over, so I pulled out after the first round last Thursday. But if I'm back from dog walking this time next week, I'll see you again. G4ELI. Dog walking this time next week, I'll see you again. G4.
Yeah, G4ELI, GAKOE. Yeah, fine. I know exactly how you feel. Yeah, G4ELI. I think you need to get I'll get Martin to put you on first if you like. That's usually a good bet. It's I know exactly what you mean. I don't usually join the Thursday net, mainly because it's a repeat of certain things that, I'm not doing enough to actually talk about very much. But with it locking up, initially I thought it was because I put SDR television on. We always blame last thing you put on, but then I went through logical attempts of running all sorts of things and combinations of stuff, and that one, I think it was the one morning or whatever, it locked up twice, but then after that it hasn't locked up since. And I wasn't sure whether when I first put the computer on, Windows tends to like doing a virus sort of scan and various other things in the background, whether that puts a big load on things, and then if I wait until that's done, it's sort of, anyway, you want to go, don't blame me, it's too hot. Today's the first day that I actually found I've been a bit awake, but hopefully see you next week. And if you want to come on first or you want to come on last, just pop up and say. Centuries.
Thought I'd just say hello back from the round table, especially since I won't be on Thursday. Round table was very good, by the way, the microwave round table, that is. And interesting discussions sometimes. But I think we should go back to the 3-minute rule for the first round on Thursdays. That would be better and be quick. Rather than because if there's 10 or so people on, it's an hour before it's someone's go, which is not great. But anyway, never mind that. I hope everyone's had a good weekend, and I'll come on. Well, maybe next Sunday actually, so I should be back. But the next thing is Friedrichshafen. Yeah, John, you missed not Val, I'm afraid. But the good news is there were not a huge number of really nice bargains that you would have liked. Well, that's not strictly true, but I won't upset you. But Dave won the prize for the best constructed piece of equipment, and it was a good set of talks as well. So that was nice. Right, okay. I'm going to go off now, I think, and get something to drink because it is rather hot in here. Dave, yes, GHGKQ. Dave Simon. He entered his spectrum analyzer stroke 24 gigahertz do everything device that he's been building, and well, it's very nice indeed. Okay, G0MJW. I don't understand that comment, Simon.
Oh, here we go. That was weird. Dodgy software. Blame the software. It's a total pile of... Right. Well, Mike, you said Dave won the construction contest, so I was suggesting it was he won for building a hen house. I mean, you didn't actually specify what the construction had to be. One thing about doing virus scans, solid state disks. If you're a gamer, you have cooling heat sinks on your solid state disks. Sometimes virus scans, if they're aggressive, that can be an issue. So if you're going to specify yourself a disk in the future, a computer in the future, there's never any harm in having cooling on your solid state drives. Now, very often that's actually on the motherboard. It's where the motherboard connects to them. That's the case with 2 out of the 3 I've got on this computer. The third one doesn't have any heat sinking on it, and that's something I'm going to do at some stage, is buy a heat sink to put onto it. But value for money, what we're paying these days, a few cents for a gigabyte, whereas I was paying £5,000 for a gigabyte over 30 years ago. So that's absolutely magnificent. Mike, I've got a few questions, whatever, so we can always hop down a channel in that direction if you want. But I'll put it over to you, John. You take it, but I can't copy you. You're too weak for me, I'm afraid. My dish is out of alignment. G4ELI.
Because I was coming in quickly. So, yeah, the 3-minute rule, I was going to say, sounds like a good idea. Because I must admit, I look at the order sometimes of the various stations and think, oh no. So maybe one should build a the next project is a clock. One thing I was going to sort of ask, but I won't. I will sort of mention it. I noticed in the SDR television, there's a means of setting an offset on your LNB as such to bring it onto frequency, and I wasn't quite sure what the best way was to do that. I needed an idiot sheet really, and the computer. I had a Dell which gave me nothing but problems, and I spent ages arguing with them, and I had the engineer around here I don't know how many times, and in the end they gave me this one, which is a brand new one, as a replacement. So I said thank you very much. So I didn't spec it as such, but the other one was 4 years old, I think it was 3 to 4 years old. I had it under warranty, and this one isn't under warranty at all. So if I ever need another one, then maybe I will spec things up. Anyway, and yeah, I think I'm gonna stop waffling. I'll leave you the channel, and you can chat to Mike. Have a bit of a sensible conversation. Sounds reasonable. G8KOE.
Who's a pretty boy? I am. Right. Just a couple of things. I don't like Dell. Switch off the audio. Hang on. I've never really liked Dell much. They do develop their stuff to a budget. Scan, we have some extremely good computer shops, operations in the UK, extremely good. Scan, overclockers, PC specialist, they're huge. Any one of these companies, their turnover, each one of them vastly exceeds the turnover of all the amateur radio side of life. And I buy my computers from Scan. Nothing against the others whatsoever. And it's a good way to go because they generally cater for gamers, but they don't build down. Yeah, very, very happy indeed. Indeed you do. There is one thing you can, if you go on the internet and look for programs that maybe in one of these Dell utilities you've got, there are programs which will stress test your computer. They'll run all the cores at 100%, and you'll hear the fans coming on full tilt, and you should get feedback, and it'll tell you, ooh, we're having to drop the clock frequency, that sort of thing. And similarly, there are programs which will thrash your solid-state drives. That's the sort of thing a company like Scan or overclockers will run on a computer when they've built it to make sure they've got it done correctly. One Dell I bought, and I've still got it in the attic up there, Must be about 1998. It's a 2 CPUs in it, a power something or other. It's got two 200 megahertz CPUs in it, and the clowns hadn't put a heatsink on one of the CPUs. Goodness me. But okay, it was 1998. It was built in Switzerland, and at the time it was all very, very new indeed. And they didn't have the quality control they do now. So for computers, nothing wrong with Dell laptops, by the way. They seem to be very good. And Dell Office machines. But if you're going to get something where you really want a bit of grunt, I'd go to Scan or overclockers. Right, I'm waiting for Mike. He's going to come up on this channel. Enough of a rant. There we go.